Alright, so this is the air filter. This is our water reservoir, and in order to change our battery, what we want to do, this is a 07 Tahoe, is we're going to remove this cover. There are 4 screws here on this bracket, which are these, okay, and this bracket sits like this. So once we remove this, our next objective obviously is to unplug. This is the negative and this is the positive. Okay, so once you got your negative and positive off, technically we should have took this bracket off first. So remember, it's this top bracket and then the bar, so then you can get to this part. With some battery experts explain that you need to unplug your battery. Negative is the one that you should unplug first. Okay, so we're all over the place. Anyway, so ultimately your first move should be remove this part. So the reason why I did that is because if we're going based on what they're telling us, is we need to always make sure that there's no power running to the unit, so that way you don't have a hazard. Safety first, remember that. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to remove our air cleaner. Okay, so now that I removed the cover, now I'm removing the actual filter, and then next thing is going to be removing this unit here. Okay, so once that is removed, which is just a snap off, you want to get this one here, and I believe there's another one in the back somewhere right here, so that we can loosen this unit to be able to get to the battery nice and easy. It's longer, but it's better done the right way. Okay, so now that I have removed the reservoir, I need to get to this one next to be able to remove this whole bracket out of the way to get to the battery holder grommet that's like right here, straight down in this direction. Now normally what I do when I remove something, like in this case I removed the bracket, but I went ahead and put the bolt back in here, threaded a little bit so that way I could remember where what goes where. So here's that little grommet piece that I told you, or battery holder, and we get to this one and then the battery, she's free.
Yep.
Okay, so now that one thing I hated about YouTube videos, they always tell you how or what they're going to do, but you never actually see the process of it getting taken out, or unless I'm not looking proper. So that's why I decided to make this one. So now that I'm done and I remove this grommet, I make sure, or the battery holder, I make sure I move positive and negative, and obviously batteries come with a handle, makes it more easier. Making sure you're careful with all the connections to the reservoir. What you do is you grab your battery, kind of push in that direction a little bit. Now that it's loose, lift up just like this and it's out. So if you see, the battery was being held by this here, the little indentations here, this 1, 2, and 3. So you got to kind of push that way a little bit and then slide out. So what we're going to do right now, we're going to bring it in an angle like this and like this. So back and to the side. Record. Okay, and this battery comes with 2 different handles. And what we want to do here, be mindful in which direction your positive and negatives are. Place it as such. Like I said, you place it just like I did, and then kind of give it a little push to the back, and then a little push, pull this way. So once it sits there, again, be mindful. Your negative is towards the back, positive is to the front. So now that it's in here, we grab our battery holder and we want to place it back in there like that. And there it is. Now you just work backwards. Right here. I'll place this bolt on first. Thread it by hand. And then place this top one back in here. Now if you have extra accessory wires, and like I did right here, I have a zip tie holding that wire port. Y'all need to make sure that you double check your work, making sure you don't damage anything else. So push come to shove, if you don't have enough slack, you know, cut that little zip tie. Okay, so then this bracket is back in play. Again, be careful with your connections. Safety first, or else you'll have a shocking experience and it'll be very electrifying. Okay, so this bracket is back in. Our battery grommet holder, whatever you want to call it, is back intact. Everything's good to go here. Next, you grab your reservoir. Now if you're watching this video, remember you got to work backwards. What I'm doing here, so placing my reservoir back in its unit, in the spot. Okay, you can't mess this one up. There it is. Okay, so if you look at it, line this up again. If you paid attention to detail, there's a little slot here where this thing slides in. Okay, and once it sits there, you're good to go. And then there's that one there, and that is for our reservoir. Okay, our reservoir is back in play. Double check, make sure you didn't. Okay.
And go.
Placing this one back in here. If you point the camera here, this one here, and yeah, 1, 2, 3 right here. That's where it's gonna lock in. So you place this thing like this.
Go.
Okay, so then once you it's kind of tricky the way you put this in here. You want to kind of find this little one first, and once it sits in there, you kind of press down and it'll snap into place. Then you grab your filter, place it as such. Just like that. Let it sit in. And mind you, now that you're in here, you can grab a vacuum and vacuum all the junk that's in there. Sometimes we accumulate dirt and whatnot. And then, this is the fun part of it. This back screw, you got to be careful with it. Don't lose it. It's kind of tight in the back. So this sits like this. Kind of find the grooves where they sit. And then it's pretty straightforward after that. Short people problems, people. So if you look here, this is a little, like a plastic, I don't know what you call it. Let's play like a puzzle. You can't go wrong with it. So obviously I didn't move this bracket here that I'm going to have to tighten in order to tighten to this unit. But if you look here, this little piece here and this little piece here, you want to marry this one in here. Like that.
See how it just by itself it sat? You heard it when it snapped into play. And that's about it, folks. So the last thing we'll end up doing is tightening these screws down. And then once we got this done, all you need to do is go back, plug in first your positive, then your negative, and then you'll be all set.
Alright, so now that we got these tightened down, we go ahead and tighten this one too, which is a flathead. Just kind of give it a turn. And then, like I said, double check your work. Make sure everything's intact. So for future reference, we first unplug that. But again, 1, 2, and then 3. Get out of it. So we remove these. These would be like bullet points, I guess. Other than that, make sure when you're working on your vehicle you get plenty of time. Alright, so now that I plug back in, positive first, finally negative, double check that none of the wires are actually holding any unwanted tension. Okay, crank it up. Move all that stuff out of the way. Double check, make sure that none of your tools are left anywhere. Crank it up. There you go. Make sure that your lights are working. Okay. There you go. There you go. And she's set. That's how we change the battery. And now the last thing to do is to add our bracket that goes here. And then that's it, people. We're good to go. I hope this video helped. Alright, so then that's the end. Tighten your bolts. You want to just tighten them the torque of what you can with your hand. You don't have to over torque them. You can look at the service book. It tells you the amount. And after that, reward yourself with a little drink. If you're a grown-up, of course. And if you're a child, have mom and dad give you like a little iced tea. Other than that, always show the little ones how to do what you're doing. And enjoy the process. Thank you for watching.